Hello Cowboys fans! More Dallas Cowboys news coming up. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Cowboys news. Parsons accuses referees of anti-Cowboys bias. The Dallas Cowboys lost the battle, but hope to regain their balance before postseason play in an attempt to win the war and hoist the Lombardi Trophy. One war that Dallas won't be winning anytime soon is that of Micah Parsons against NFL officials. The elite pass rusher hasn't drawn a penalty in 38 quarters, and a controversial call of violence against the passer hasn't helped fans' confidence in the league's officiating. In fact, Parsons himself, already outspoken on the issue, reacted to Sunday's Christmas Eve defeat in Miami by accusing the officials of harboring an anti-Cowboys bias. Late in the second quarter against the Miami Dolphins, Parsons hit quarterback Tua Tagovailoa after he threw an incomplete pass. He didn't advance with his helmet or take any extra steps at real speed. It looked a lot like a typical football play. Nevertheless, he was called for roughing Tagovailoa, and on the next play, the Dolphins scored a touchdown, opening up a 13-7 lead at halftime. The Cowboys lost 22-20 in Miami on Sunday. Parsons was angered by the call, and rightly so. After the game, he spoke about his frustration. "It's mind-boggling the things that are being called and the positions we're in," Parsons said. "We just have to learn to fight through adversity. I know a lot of it is rubbish, but it's the world we live in. We have that star on our helmet. It's just hard to play defense." Parsons is essentially saying that the referees are against him and the Cowboys, a pretty serious accusation. Controversial calls on pass rushers are nothing new, but when they occur in such hotly contested games, with playoff implications underlining the dispute, they are increasingly difficult to ignore. When one of the league's top pass rushers isn't stopped for more than half the season, it adds fuel to the fire. "The referee said my intention was to punish the quarterback," Parsons continued. "How am I trying to punish him if I'm just trying to sack him? It's not like it was a late hit. It's not like I was leaving my feet. I didn't deal with the head. I don't know how you make that connection." It's often a loser's lament to blame the refs for a team's downfalls, and the Cowboys certainly still could have won. But that didn't stop Parsons from having the right to complain on Sunday. In fact, as the night progressed, Parsons tried again, posting on social media, "Whatever I did to the officials, I'm sorry." The loss in Week 16 extended Dallas' losing streak to 2 and damaged their hopes of hosting a playoff game. A Saturday date with the Detroit Lions in Week 17 won't make things any easier. The referees haven't defined this game, but becoming an impossible-to-overlook element of NFL football isn't good for anyone. The league and its officials must be better. But Parsons is brutally honest about the unfair officiating in the Dolphins' defeat. The Cowboys' star pass rusher, Micah Parsons, complained about terrible refereeing after a brutal loss to the Dolphins. "What's the biggest problem in the NFL today? Is it a lack of good quarterback play? Bad games on primetime television? Teams that refuse to run the ball? All of these issues pale into insignificance compared to the terrible officiating this season. It seems that in every game there is at least one terrible decision that fans unanimously agree with." That's exactly what happened during the Dallas Cowboys' loss to the Miami Dolphins. During the hotly contested game, Cowboys star Micah Parsons did his best to get to Tua Tagovailoa. However, Parsons couldn't, partly due to some missed calls by the referees. Replays showed some pretty blatant holds. After the game, Parsons complained about unfair refereeing, according to John Machota. Parsons on the roughing the passer penalty, "The ref said my intent was to punish the quarterback. How am I trying to punish him if I'm just trying to sack him? It's not like it was a late hit. It's not like I was leaving my feet. I didn't deal with the head. I don't know how you make that connection." Parsons also insinuated that the Cowboys are hurt by calls because, well, they're the Cowboys. "It's mind-boggling the things that are being called and the positions we're in. We just have to learn to fight through adversity. I know a lot of it is rubbish, but it's the world we live in. We have the star on our helmet. It's hard to play defense. The Cowboys were one of the most penalized teams last season, and that continues to this day. One of those violent calls by passers sounded like a textbook RTP, to be fair. However, Parsons also complains about not getting calls on hold. When you feel like you don't get any calls coming your way, it makes those who are called against you feel even worse. Anyway, the Cowboys are now looking to put that game behind them. Next up is a date against the Lions. Can Dallas retain the NFC East crown? Cowboys' CeeDee Lamb gets shot in very strange play. Started, it looked like it was going to be one of those games for Cowboys star receiver CeeDee Lamb. In Dallas' first 2 attempts, Lamb was the target of 5 passes and made 4 receptions. He racked up 93 receiving yards, including a 49-yard catch and run from Dak Prescott for the Cowboys' first touchdown, the one that put Dallas up 7-3 in the game. But then, nothing. For 2 quarters, not only did Lamb not record a reception, but Prescott and the Cowboys didn't target Lamb. So what happened? Did the Dolphins launch a defensive line to confuse Lamb and the Cowboys? Did Miami star quarterback Jalen Ramsey, who arrived at the game chasing the Cowboys wearing a cute cowboy hat, hit Lamb? No. And Lamb's miss was a key factor in Dallas' disappointing 22-20 loss in Week 16 on Sunday. They weren't doing anything, Lamb said in his locker after the game. I don't know. I just felt like, if I'm going to be involved, just keep me involved. And in the game, do what they have to do. But yeah, I agree. It was weird that second and third quarter. Very strange. CeeDee Lamb surpassed 5,000 yards on Sunday. Making matters a little worse was the fact that Lamb reached a milestone in the game, surpassing 5,000 career yards. As Pro Football Focus posted on its Twitter feed, WRs with more than 5,000 yards from scrimmage in their first 4 seasons: Jerry Rice, Torrey Holt, Randy Moss, Michael Thomas, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys ended up going back to Lamb in the fourth quarter, but with little luck. He had 5 targets, but only 2 receptions, for 25 yards. He also suffered a critical false start penalty on a play that would have given the Cowboys a first down in the red zone in the third quarter. Lamb, on the play, moved backwards to make sure he wasn't impeded, but did so while another Cowboy was in motion. I can't have 2 guys in motion at the same time. So the first down was wiped out and the Cowboys settled for a field goal that made the score 16-10, Dolphins. I always want to get a win, Lamb said. Obviously, tough games, tough situations. I learn a lot in these types of games and I know we'll bounce back. This narrative about us not winning is weird, but true. But we know what we have to do. We have to be great. Keep being who we are and change that narrative in the future. The narrative, of course, is the notion that the Cowboys can't beat good teams away from home. However, it's not so much a narrative as a fact. Dallas is 3-5 away from home and 7-0 at home. We have to live with that, Lamb said. The things we've thrown up this season, we have to take them on. I'm not opposed to it because, once again, the things we've done away have been nowhere near what we've achieved at home. But it doesn't really matter where we play. We have to be able to overcome adversity, whether it's in a hostile environment or not. Cowboys travel well. So pretty much every away game is a home game. Shout out to the fans for that. But what we have to do on the pitch. One way to do that would be for the Dallas offense not to forget that it has CeeDee Lamb on its side. If there was one thing Lamb saw as a positive, it was that the team managed to take a 20-19 lead with a touchdown late in the game before the Dolphins won it with a field goal. That proves who we are, Lamb said. We're definitely a team that's prepared for those kinds of moments, the big games. I don't doubt that one bit. We have great players at all levels of the game, you know? I trust them with my life. For us to fall short is very regrettable. We have to go back to the drawing board, but we have to create this kind of game. That's exactly what it is. Have your say on the news? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Dallas Cowboys news.